In July of 1989, recently widowed Mary Ellen Samuels took off from California on a Cancun lover's vacation. According to then-boyfriend Dean Groover, Cancun was supposed to be the couple's second home. Mary Ellen Samuels had recently become a very rich widow thanks to her husband Bob's death. In the 8 months since his passing, Mary Ellen Samuels blew through cash at an incredible pace. And needless to say, it didn't go unnoticed. She bought sports cars, went on lavish vacations, bought furs, condos, the works. Mary Ellen Samuels was living her dream. She had a handsome boyfriend, her daughter was happy, everything was going great. However, what she didn't know was while she was smiling for photos in Cancun, police would discover a badly decomposed body, and they were working to bring down the Green Widow. And thanks to Bob Samuels and a man named Jim Bernstein, from the grave these two men would take down a very greedy woman. Born in 1947, Mary Ellen Gurnick would grow up to be an all-American teen of the 1960s. Her childhood days would be spent at Disneyland, family trips to the beach, and hanging out with friends. Mary Ellen also grew up to be a very pretty young girl who attracted many suitors. And one of those suitors was a childhood friend and neighbor kid. His name was Bob Samuels. Bob Samuels was 2 years younger than Mary Ellen and kept his crush a secret. Mary Ellen would eventually graduate high school, get married to a handsome young man, and become a mother of a young daughter named Nicole. She also had a stepdaughter, and for the next few years, Mary Ellen's life was perfect. The two old friends didn't cross paths again until 1980. By then, Mary Ellen was a newly divorced single mom, and Bob had made a name for himself in the movie industry. After the first date, the couple hit it off great. Mary Ellen and Bob would eventually marry. Bob purchased a home in Northridge, California for his new family to live in, and he adopted Mary Ellen's daughter, Nicole. But Bob soon discovered that his wife had a very expensive habit. Mary Ellen would spend money like faucets ran water. And Bob may have liked Mary Ellen's look and the jewelry and the clothes and everything that she had. He just didn't appreciate the cash she spent on it. The couple soon began arguing over finances and money constantly. Bob, however, soon figured out, or at least to him, a way to keep the couple from arguing. Bob purchased a restaurant and put Mary Ellen in charge of running it. Mary Ellen had mixed feelings about her business, and one October day, Bob came home from work and discovered a Dear John letter and divorce papers on the kitchen counter. He also discovered that Mary Ellen and his stepdaughter had moved out and into a condo not far from the home. Bob offered Mary Ellen a trial separation, hoping that with $1,500 in payments monthly, that maybe he and Mary Ellen could rekindle what they had soon lost. Mary Ellen, however, was enjoying her semi-single life. But Bob and Mary Ellen's life would soon come to a screeching halt. In December of 1988, Bob Samuels would be discovered murdered in his home by his wife Mary Ellen and stepdaughter Nicole. First responders thought it was a robbery gone awry, but detectives soon learned that this case was far more dark and far more sinister. It was December 1988, and police in Northridge, California found themselves at the home of Bob Samuels. After receiving a devastating call from Bob's then-wife Mary Ellen, police raced to the scene and discovered that he had been brutally murdered. But when they brought Mary Ellen down to the station, they would discover that this grieving widow was anything but. Mary Ellen would tell cops that she figured it was a robbery gone awry and that some things were missing. She also wore a low-cut top and was flirting with one of the detectives that was interviewing her. But that wasn't the strangest thing about this case. When police began investigating, they discovered that nothing was missing. They discovered that this may have been a targeted hit. They also discovered that Bob Samuels put up a fight against his attacker or attackers. And when police started getting tips that Mary Ellen Samuels may be involved in the murder of her husband, they knew that they were onto the right track. But Mary Ellen would arouse even more suspicion in the days to come. The moment the cops took down the yellow crime scene tape, she and her daughter moved back into the Northridge home where Bob had been killed, and went on like nothing had happened. Mary Ellen would put the sandwich shop up for sale, file a claim to collect Bob's life insurance policies, and then she went back to her two favorite pastimes: bar hopping and spending money, and shopping. Her daughter Nicole was essentially left to raise herself, while Mary Ellen took numerous trips to Las Vegas and Cancun, and for a time Mary Ellen's life was back on track. But Mary Ellen did know that she was still a suspect, and that pretty soon, for her and Nicole, the champagne towers, the shopping sprees, the lavish vacations, the money to blow, would all soon be over. In 1989, police started receiving anonymous tips about Mary Ellen Samuels. While Mary Ellen was already on their radar, the witnesses claimed that Mary Ellen was involved in not one, but two murders. Just before this call was made, police discovered the body of Jim Bernstein, a 27-year-old drug dealer. And that wasn't the shocking part. Bernstein was also engaged to Mary Ellen's daughter, Nicole. When police brought in witnesses, they got an earful. Mary Ellen Samuels, along with her daughter, had been trying to seduce men and procure hitmen to kill both Bob Samuels and Jim Bernstein. They also received tips that Mary Ellen and Nicole were involved in some very seedy and dark behavior: drug dealing, underage drinking, the works. And that was enough for police. They went to the home in Northridge and arrested Mary Ellen on 2 charges of first-degree murder. Her bail was set at $1 million. And when the tabloids got a hold of this, they would uncover a tale of murderous greed. It was June 1994, and Mary Ellen Samuels found herself in a California courtroom on trial for 2 counts of first-degree murder. She faced the death penalty if convicted. Prosecutors came out swinging and stated that Mary Ellen was a drug-infused, greedy widow and had even manipulated her own daughter into helping her commit these murders. As evidence, they brought in this photo of Mary Ellen covered in a mound of cash. When the paparazzi would speak to witnesses, they claimed that Mary Ellen and her daughter were also into drug dealing, underage drinking, providing drugs to minors, posing for mother and daughter cheesecake photos, everything. Even Nicole's own friends testified how they got into clubs at ages 15 and 16 simply because they knew Mary Ellen. They also testified that Nicole was provided cocaine every day by her mother. Nicole and her mother would claim that Bob Samuels was not the all-American guy that people portrayed him out to be, and that Bernstein, due to his own actions and his own involvement with drugs and drug dealing, that is how he ended up dead by 2 hitmen on the side of a Ventura County road, badly decomposed. Mary Ellen also denied any claims that she was a greedy widow. When the jury was sent away, many wondered, would she get away with it? A day went by, and then another, and then another. After 18 days of deliberation, the jury would find Mary Ellen Samuels guilty of 2 counts of first-degree murder. She was sentenced to death, Mary Ellen still sits in prison today, and many wonder what went wrong. A beautiful woman who had a lot going for her, who by all accounts had a great childhood and upbringing. How could she grow up to kill not one man, but two, without ever having to pull the trigger?